So we'll get started, and then what I'll do is after I've introduced Sonja and she started, I'll chase the naughty people that haven't logged on yet. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really excited. I want to say I'm really excited to see you all, but I can't. So you know the meaning of what I'm saying. So before we get started, I'm extremely excited to let you know that our flagship event, the Big Debate 2021, is live on our website and going virtual for the first time. This high-profile annual event is a key date in the commercial calendar for the start of 2021. On Friday, the 5th of February, we'll be bringing together Norfolk MPs and local business leaders to discuss and debate the issues affecting businesses in the region. This year's topics are Beyond Brexit, People and Skills, Climate Change and Going Green, and Rebuilding the Economy. I'll include in the chat a link to the event page where you can find out more details and book your place. So, thank you for joining us on our Next Recovery Programme event. This series has been designed to support businesses to restart, rebuild, and renew. So, start 21 with calm, focus, creativity, and a smile. How, I hear you ask? By doing something differently that you do every moment of every day, but not quite right. In this 60-minute virtual masterclass, Sonja Mackay, founder of the More Human Company, I don't know about you, but I love your business name, will show you how to breathe. Yes, breathe. You'll discover how stress shows up for you and learn several simple practices that will support you to have the best year at home and work. Following the presentation, there will be a live Q&A where Sonja will answer your questions. So please use the Q&A function when you have a question. Before I hand over to Sonja, just make sure that when you are putting anything in the chat function, just send it to all panelists and attendees so we can all communicate and see what everyone is writing. So Sonja, over to you.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. I'm just going to share my screen with everyone in 1 second. Before I do that, I would just say to everyone, I like these to be interactive. Normally, obviously, I can see a screen of people. Webinars are always kind of interesting. But please do interact. There'll be a few polls throughout, and please do pop your questions. If I can, I'll answer them throughout. If not, I will answer them at the end. So just let me share my screen with you. So welcome to breathing. And I'm not going to talk a lot about myself because I really want this session to be about you. But the reason I got to breathing and the work that I do now in the More Human Company was because I actually burnt out. I got incredibly sick a few years ago, and I actually was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, which took me a long time to recover from. So the goal of the More Human Company really is, the strapline is don't burn out and don't be an asshole. And we can get into that at another time. But today is really focusing on giving you the skill of learning the importance of your breath. And I'll take you through both some practices, but I will also explain the physiology, so how your body works, and a little bit of the neuroscience. So why it's important that you can connect with your breath for engagements throughout life. And don't you just love this image? I personally just think it's fabulous. If you haven't already, oops, sensitive mouse this morning. If you haven't already done so, I invite you just to grab a pen and paper if there's any notes that you want to take. And I will ask you some questions throughout. So, you know, you're welcome to keep the answers in your head, but sometimes it's easier just to write them down. So if you want to grab that, I can't see if you're away from your desk, so you're welcome to just get up and grab it. And I would say if like you have tea and coffee sitting next to you, feel free to drink it throughout it. My sessions are always like super relaxed. There's no standing on formality here. And whilst you're grabbing your pen and paper, I'd like you to be curious. There may be things that come up for you through this class and you're like, oh, that's really interesting, or oh, that makes me really uncomfortable. Please stick with me to the end, because really the juicy stuff happens as we get into the latter part of the class, and that's when you really drop into your body and you'll learn some of these techniques. So just come with some curiosity. Quite often when our brains are trying to resist things, we'll go, I know this, I've done this before, I don't need to be here, I can be spending my time differently. And I understand that, and I'm hugely appreciative of your time this morning, but I do invite you to have some curiosity. So we're just going to take a quick poll because I just want to know how you guys are feeling right now. And I don't know, do I need to exit out of full screen for you to do that? No. There we go.
It's live along the bottom.
Fabulous. So how are you feeling today? So please choose what's front of mind for you, just so I can see where everybody's at. Oh, it's live and interactive. This is awesome. Very cool. So a real mixture. Oh, more people are calm than anxious. I love it. Amazing. Wonderful. I'm very happy to hear that you guys are calm. There's a few uncertain, absolutely, completely understandable. Few anxious, few stressed. No one's feeling very focused. So let's see if we can make that work. Wonderful. I think we can close the poll. Can I close it? Oh yeah, I can. I'll just, so yep, 33% of you are calm, but so 50-50. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. All right, we're going to get started. We're going to jump straight in. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with your breathing baseline. How do you breathe right now? So just find a comfortable seat and placing one hand just on your chest, just to connect with your physical body, and just one hand over your belly button, just at your navel center. And if it's comfortable for you, I just invite you to close down your eyes. And just take a moment to connect to your breath. And you're not trying to force your breath in any way, you're simply observing. Noticing the air as it flows in and out of your nose. Is your breathing fast? Is it slow? Bringing awareness to your jaw. Noticing if it's relaxed or tight. Your neck. Your shoulders. And bringing awareness to your hands. And simply observing which hand is moving most as you breathe. Do you feel your breath high in your chest? Do you feel it lower in your belly? Does it feel expansive or does it feel constricted? And you're just observing. Noticing as you bring awareness to it if it changes. Has it started to slow down in any way? And just taking 2 more breaths like this. And when you're ready, just very gently opening your eyes, coming back into your room. And just take a moment to write down, what did you notice when you stop and actually observe your breath? How was it? Where was it in your body? So there's a few questions on the screen, but obviously just write about your own experience. And I just want to give you a few moments to do that. So we have another quick poll. So we'd love to know, what did you notice? And these are the most common things that come up in the classes. High in the chest, few low in the belly, mostly high in the chest. Oh, you're in the right place then. You're definitely in the right place. So yeah, over 70% of you are high in the chest. There's a few of you that are more low in the belly. So wonderful. Thank you all for participating. I'll quickly stop share. I think, can you guys see all that? So we'll hold on to those. So 67% of you, so more than half, are high in the chest, which is good news for today, because, oops, there we go. So let me just explain a little bit about our breath. And this was a revelation to me when I started studying this. So breathing is controlled by our autonomic nervous system, which means that it's both automatic, but something that we can consciously control. And this is what makes it so powerful for us as a way to navigate life. Now, there's two branches that come off of our autonomic nervous system. You have your sympathetic nervous system and your parasympathetic nervous system. Just like a quick either show of hands, or you can type in the chat. Normally I get everyone to actually raise their hands. Do you know what they are? Just really curious to know if people know the difference between your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system. Yep, a few people have raised their hands. Oh, there we go. And the chat. Nope, a few no's. And that's perfectly okay, because I didn't know either. And it's something which is, once you know it, you'll be like, oh, that makes so much sense. So our sympathetic nervous system is what we refer to commonly as fight or flight. What a lot of people don't know is that within our lungs, there's more receptors for our sympathetic nervous system high in our lungs. When we're in our fight or flight mode, that's us very much in reaction mode. So we'll come on to the neuroscience part later, but we're not really thinking. We're very much just reacting to a situation. Our parasympathetic nervous system is our rest and digest. And that's the lobes for that are low in our lungs. So when we breathe lower, that's when we activate that part of our nervous system. And that's when we can respond. So when you're feeling really calm, like if you're on vacation and someone asks you a question, you're much more, relaxed and laid back, and you take time to consider your answers. Whereas when you're sitting in your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight, that's when you respond really quickly, and you may end up saying things which you later regret. And we want these to be in balance. But for those of us that are breathing high in our chest, that's what we're doing. We're sitting in our sympathetic nervous system. And when we're here, we're releasing cortisol and adrenaline, our stress hormones, which for short periods of time are absolutely fine. But most of us actually have this drip effect. We have these microdoses of stress throughout the day, which can lead to inflammation, which ultimately leads to disease and ill health. So that's just a very quick intro to the physiology. I get asked this a lot. Should I breathe through my nose or through my mouth? I hope you like dogs. I know it's a very big nose picture, but I thought it was kind of cute. Grumpy, but cute. Most of the practices I teach, and generally in life, you should breathe through your nose. Our noses are actually designed for breathing. They heat and cool the air as it goes through our body. And there's also little cilia, so there's little hairs inside our nose which filter out debris. But interestingly, you actually get more oxygen to your brain, 18% more oxygen to your brain by breathing through your nose. So if you can, if it's available to you, please breathe through your nose through these sessions. And if it's not, that's perfectly okay. Some people have nasal challenges. Do breathe through your mouth. And I'm happy to answer other questions on this later for sure. So I know I'm moving through this really quickly, but I just want to give you the kind of overview of the program so that we can really get to the juicy part of getting you connected to your breath and breathing fully. I want to explain the connection between our breath and our emotions. And the easiest way for me to do that is just to take you through a very short guided visualization so that you can start to appreciate how the things that happen in your life on a daily basis are impacting your breath. So I invite you to find that comfortable seat again. And just scoot your butt to the back of your chair and just have your feet flat on the floor. You're also welcome to sit cross-legged if that's more comfortable for you. And either placing your hands back on your body or just gently in your lap. Lengthening from your tailbone to the crown of your head, just so that your body is in a very regal position, and gently tucking your chin. And I invite you once again to close down your eyes or lower your gaze. If at any time you feel uncomfortable, just open your eyes again. And just take a moment to connect to your breath. And I'd like you to bring to mind something that brings you joy. Something that makes you smile. And as you hold this image in your mind of something that brings you joy and makes you smile, simply observe your breathing. Noticing if it's fast or slow. If it feels expansive or constricted. And just noticing your jaw. As you hold this image in your mind of something that brings you joy and makes you smile, observing your posture. Noticing your hands. Noticing if you want to smile. Now, letting that image go, I'd like you to bring to mind something which is a little bit challenging for you right now. Maybe something that you read in the news or something that happened this morning. And as you hold this image in your mind as something that is a little bit challenging for you right now, notice your breath. Has it changed? Has it shifted in any way? Bringing awareness to your jaw, to your shoulders. And as you hold this image in your mind of something which is a little bit challenging, observing any changes in your posture and in your hands. Now, letting that image go, come back to your first image, the one that brought you joy and made you smile. And again, simply observing if it's hard to shift between both images, observing any changes in your body, noticing your breath. Now, letting all those images glide from your mind, just come back to your breath and just take 2 slow, deep breaths. And when you're ready, very gently opening your eyes. And again, just take a moment to jot down what you noticed. Were you surprised? Were you surprised with the shifts in your body when you thought of something joyful compared to something challenging? Did anyone clench their jaw when they thought of something more challenging? And quite often this is something we do multiple times a day and we're just not aware of it. So I'm just going to give you a few moments just to jot down what you noticed. Sorry, I'm sipping on my tea. My voice is really raspy this morning, so. All right. What did you notice? Would love for you to type in the chat. If you're happy to share, was there any difference? Don't be shy. Did anyone notice anything different? shy lot this morning. That's okay. Oh, there we go. Good image produces long, slow breaths. Thank you, Craig. Really appreciate it. Absolutely. Did you notice my chest felt tight with a challenging thought? Yep, Janine, absolutely. And now you know when you're breathing high in your chest, you're activating that sympathetic nervous system. It was easy to flip. Yep. Upsetting, tighter breath. Absolutely. Faster breathing when I focused on the challenging. And yeah, absolutely. It can be really hard to switch back. It's very easy for us to activate our sympathetic nervous system, but it can take hours for us to return to that place of balance and equanimity. Kayleen, is that something that you've noticed before? The tighter jaw when it's been challenging? And you can just type, you can talk or type in the chat, whatever is most comfortable for you.
No, I didn't. But
Yeah.
as I was thinking of it, I could feel my jaw just getting tighter and tighter.
Right? So this happens to us a lot in life. So thank you everyone for sharing. I really, really appreciate it. Emotions are contagious. Our emotions are actually contagious. There's been significant research done on this across the world. There's a number of articles. And if you want to email me afterwards, I'm happy to send some of them to you. But it's really important that we understand how we respond to the different situations that we have in life. And this is what comes up a lot. So it's like, wow, my entire body tightened when I thought about something challenging. Some people actually stop breathing. The jaw gets really tight and your breath moves really high into your chest. So you're really moving into that sympathetic nervous system. You're activating your stress hormones and you're really taking a part of your brain offline, which you really need. If you remember nothing else from today, this is just kind of like the shorthand. So a chest breath is a stress breath. That's when you start to get more agitated, irritated, anxious, and emotional. And I work with different countries, so I just put all of the international emergency numbers up here. It's just easier. So you're effectively dialing 999. You're saying to your brain, I'm in danger. And this is when you're in reaction mode, which is great if you're like walking down the street and you're on your phone and you're not paying attention and you step off the curb and then a bus comes past, which has happened to me. I will own up to that. And your body, you jump back, right? That's your sympathetic nervous system working when it's meant to. But unfortunately, we've got this prehistoric nervous system, which is not designed for the modern world. It's not designed to be bombarded with the amount of information that we currently have. Whereas your belly breath is your calm breath. So you're more relaxed, you're more focused, clear thinking, and that's when you can respond. So I just want to quickly touch on stress before I explain to you how to unwind a lot of this stuff. I know my brain feels like this on a regular basis. I'm fairly confident yours does too. So let me just explain a little bit about our brain and stress. And not all stress is bad. Stress gets a little bit of a bad rap. So there's three kind of main kinds of stress, right? So we can actually be, if we're bored, we can actually feel a little bit stressed. So if we're not challenged enough in life, if we're not challenged in our job, if we're doing something which is just, doesn't allow us to fulfill our purpose, then we can actually be a little bit stressed. But, the way to resolve that is to, give our brain a little bit of a workout, and we can also then move into more a state of calm. Eustress is where we want to sit. Now, this smiley brain is a representation of your prefrontal cortex. And your prefrontal cortex is that executive function of your brain. That's what helps you be creative, energized, focused, strategic, make good decisions in life. And this type of stress is called eustress, which is good stress. Unfortunately, most of us sit over here quite often in distress. And when we're sitting in distress, when we're exhausted and, we're just overwhelmed by life, and stress really occurs when the demands on us overwhelm us and we just don't have the capacity to meet those demands. This is when your limbic system is in charge, which is a most ancient primordial part of our brain. And many of you will have heard of your amygdala. Your amygdala is effectively your chief security officer compared to your prefrontal cortex, which is your chief executive officer. So your chief security officer is running the show when you're sitting over in distress. So when you're breathing high in your chest, you're sending that signal to your brain that you're in some kind of danger. So it's your amygdala that's really running the show. And this is where quite often we'll say things to a partner or a friend, you know, stuff will come out of your mouth and you're like, oh, I really didn't mean to say that. Now, our individual tipping point from eustress to distress is that very individualistic. It depends on, you know, how much sleep you've had the night before, your diet, your exercise, you know, your practices, you know, the demands on you through any individual day. So it really does vary on a day-to-day basis, which is why doing a breath practice is super important to keep you in balance. Because what we want to do is, you know, we want to send your chief security officer out for coffee so that your prefrontal cortex, your CEO, is sitting in charge most of the time, which will allow you to show up in the world exactly the way that you want to. And you're welcome to stick any questions in the chat about this if you want to know more. But when we are breathing low and slow, that's when we're sitting here. We're either in calm or we're in eustress. So just to recap, basically you've taken your breathing baseline. About half of you were feeling, well, more than half, about 80% of you were breathing high in your chest. So you know that you're sitting in your sympathetic nervous system. You're like, oh my God, great. You've just told me that I'm really stressed out. When I think of all the challenging stuff that's going on in my life, I don't know how to navigate it. So we're going to learn how to reset. And this is the really fun part. This is where you're going to learn how to breathe fully. Most of us breathe vertically. So we breathe like this. And really, to take the full expression of our breath, we're going to relearn how to breathe laterally. So we're going to learn how to take a full breath. Now, I'm going to jump out of screen mode so that you can see me more fully. And we're going to break this down into 3 parts. To breathe with your entire breath means engaging your diaphragm. But we're going to start from our belly. So we're going to learn how to breathe with our belly, then our diaphragm, and then allow the breath to move up like a wave to our chest. So I'm going to do it with my eyes open with you to start, and then I'm going to guide you through a longer practice. If you're wearing tight clothing, which hopefully none of you are, because if you are, you're not doing work from home properly. Just place one hand over your belly button, just at your navel center. And as you inhale, allow your belly to expand. So as you breathe in, your belly expands. And I'm going to stand up and show you, and I know it might seem a bit weird, but some people are like, I don't get it. What do you mean my belly goes out? People can have reverse breathing, where it's actually the opposite of this. So sorry, I'm in an attic, so my head's going to disappear. So as you breathe in, it's a very gentle motion. So inhale, exhale. Breathing in and breathing out. So you're very gently expanding your belly. Breathing in, your belly expands. You'll feel your hands move. And breathing out, it relaxes. Now, the next part is to start to engage your diaphragm. So your diaphragm should be responsible for 75% of your respiratory effort. But most of us breathe from our shoulder muscles, which is why we get sore necks and get really tired very quickly. Our diaphragm is designed for breathing. So I want you to give yourself half a hug. So I just want you to put your fingers just on the side of your rib cage. To engage your diaphragm, you need to slow your breathing down. So as you inhale, really inflate your lungs. And as you do so, you will feel your rib cage push against your hand. This can feel really funky because most of us don't breathe into our diaphragm. So I'm going to show you with me standing up in a different way so you can see what I mean. So as you inhale, watch my hands. Breathing in. See my rib cage expand to the side. Breathing out. And breathing in. And breathing out. Now, the reason I get you to do one is otherwise your shoulders end up here. So as you inhale, you'll just start to feel your rib cage very gently expand to the side. And as you exhale, it comes back in. Because what happens when we do this is your diaphragm drops down and massages all your digestive organs, and it leaves space for your lungs to expand. And we're going to do this more fully, but that's the that's what it will feel like. And don't worry if it only moves a millimeter, that's absolutely fine. And then finally, we put it all together with our chest. So as you breathe in, we'll just do it. Breathing in, you'll feel your belly gently expand. Then you start to feel your lungs inflate and your ribs will move slightly. And then you'll start to feel it in your chest. And then you exhale. So we're going to put all this together. I'm going to guide you through it. And then I'm going to invite you partway through to take a big exhale. And then we're going to do a counting breath. So find that comfortable seat. And I'm just going to play some background music. So bear with me. So let me get that up. So find your comfortable seat. Feet flat on the floor or cross-legged. And just roll your shoulders back and down. And notice if you're holding any tension in your jaws, like just give it a little bit of a massage. And relax across your eyebrows, relax around your eyes. And just place your hand at your belly button. And I invite you to close down your eyes. And let's just, as you breathe in, notice your belly expanding. Breathing out, finding softness. Breathing in, your belly expands. And breathing out, finding softness. Just keep this going. Allowing everything to slow down. Now keeping your eyes closed, moving your hand to the side of your ribcage. As you inhale, slowly inflating your lungs, slowing your breath down as you allow your lungs to fill with air. Notice your ribcage gently pressing into your hand. As you exhale, everything relaxes. As you breathe in, slowly inflating your lungs, noticing your ribs move. Now on your next inhale, really breathing into the back of your body, into the back of your lungs. Taking a slow, full, deep breath, filling your entire chest cavity with air. Exhaling. Just keep this going. Keeping your eyes closed, just moving your hand up to your chest, just resting your fingers on your collarbone, putting it all together. As you breathe in, your belly very gently expands, feeling your breath inflate your lungs, your ribs move, then the breath in your chest. Exhaling, everything relaxes. Just keeping this going. Now again, keeping your eyes closed, just allow your hands very gently to fall into your lap. And I invite everyone, we're going to exhale it out together, and then we're going to do a counting breath. So exhaling all of your breath out, Now when you breathe in for the count of 4, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, and breathing out, 2, 3, 4. Taking this full expression of your breath as you breathe in for 4, and you breathe out for 4. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Keeping this going. I'm going to leave you in silence just for a few minutes. Now try extending your inhale to the count of 5 and your exhale to the count of 5. Slowing it down even more. Not forcing your breath, being very gentle. And if 4 works for you, stick with 4. Allow it to be effortless. Allow your body to breathe. Now letting go of any counting, just come back to your breath. Taking a moment to notice how you're feeling. And keeping your eyes closed. Taking a moment, noticing your mind and any sensations in your body. And very gently start to deepen your breathing. Becoming aware of the weight of your body on your chair and your feet on the floor. Noticing any sounds inside or outside of the room. And just taking your time to come back into your physical body. And taking at least 3 deep breaths before you open your eyes and come back into the room. But there is no rush. How are you all feeling? Feel free to stick any questions in the Q&A. We've still got a little bit of the session to go, but how was that? How did it feel to breathe with your whole body? Thank you, Craig. Very different, right? Yeah. We're not really taught how to breathe with our diaphragm, which is why I'd like to break it down for everyone. Very calming. So you activated, you basically just balanced your nervous system. Yep, felt it in your fingers and toes, and it can reverberate throughout your entire body. And it takes practice. So it takes practice with this style of breath work, but ultimately this is the way you want to breathe from this day forward. You want to take this entire expression of your breath. And it takes practice and retraining. So it's called positive neuroplasticity. So I'm sure many of you have heard the term neuroplasticity, but effectively our brains are plastic. So we mold them with everything that we do throughout the day. And it used to be thought that as we grow older, we can't change our brain. That's been proven incorrect by neuroscientists. We can all mold and shape our brains, and how you breathe on a daily basis is creating those neural pathways. So it just takes practice, so daily practice, which is something I want to invite you to do. I want to share one more to you before we close out today's session. So just yeah, totally. It will feel awkward, especially your diaphragm, because it's really funky, right? We're not used to, yes, Craig, keep doing it. I want you to breathe like this forever. This is how you want to breathe, right? Unless you're doing a specific practice, this is just generally how you should breathe in life, with the full expression of our breath. And the more you become acquainted with your breath, the more you'll notice when you're going into your nervous system, and that's you in reaction mode. And when you're in reaction mode, your chief security officer is in charge, not your CEO. And that's fine if you're running from a wild animal, right? Or you're, freaked out about something, but not for everyday life. So don't read the news, because you're going to, in fact, watch the news and see if you go into your sympathetic nervous system, because you probably do, especially right now. All right, let me just quickly share my screen again. Sorry, I don't want to overrun, because I always overrun. I want to teach you one more thing, and that is the power of a mindful moment. Now, it takes, let me take a step back. Our amygdala, so our limbic system, is connected to, there's a direct connection to our brainstem, from our retina to our brainstem. So what happens is we're constantly scanning our environment, right? We're constantly going, am I safe? Am I not safe? Do I want to approach? Do I want to avoid? But this happens at the subconscious level. We're not actually even aware that we're doing it. But especially now with COVID, if you go out to the grocery store, and someone's in the supermarket and you're like, do you have your mask on? Why is your mask below your nose? What are you doing? What's happening? Right? You're sending that message to your amygdala. It's like, I need to back away. I could be in danger here. I want to avoid. But this also happens, and it happens like at 8 milliseconds. That's how long it takes. So it's happening at the subconscious level for you to get that signal from your amygdala to your brain. I don't want to be here. I'm in danger. And that's when it starts to engage it goes through a whole process with other parts of your brain. But then it moves you into reaction mode. So I want us to learn the absolute magic of the power of a mindful moment. And in this instance, a mindful moment is one deep, slow breath. So you've just learned how to take that full expression of your breath. So it's just like one deep breath. And I want you to do it right now. So don't close your eyes, don't sit any fancy way, just exactly how you're showing up right now. Take a moment, just take one full deep breath. Do you feel the shift? Do you feel the shift from wherever you were into more calm? And with practice, this happens more quickly. So I want you to think about, where do you need to build in a pause? Where do you need to take a deep breath? And just reflect for a moment. Where will it be beneficial for you to take a mindful moment? Where can you create space to take one deep breath? So a couple of examples are, especially if you're homeschooling, right, your kids, before you respond to your children when they ask you for the millionth time if they can have a biscuit, right? Or when they're going to have to stop school. Now, we all have our levels of tolerance, and sometimes you just might not respond the way you want to, and that takes a while to unwind with your kids. So, you know, you don't want to snap, right? So maybe before you respond when they've asked you for a millionth time, can I have a biscuit? You know, are we there yet? Type of moment. Pause and take a deep breath. Or when a colleague sends you an email and the tone of the email is hard to, you know, you may take it more offensively and you want to fire back a message going, what do you mean by that? That's another opportunity to take that mindful moment and go, do I want to react or do I want to respond? Because when we're in fight mode, especially when we're on our computers, notice if you do this, right? That's you respond, that's you reacting to that situation. So I'm going to stop talking for a moment. I want you to write down, because I'd like us to share these. Where will it be beneficial for you? So it can be a home example, work example, or both. So I'm just going to give you, a minute to do that. So just take a moment. Yep, Catherine, pre-meetings, absolutely. So if you have your mindful moment, feel free to put it in the chat. Where is it going to benefit you to build in a mindful moment? Yep, absolutely, Charlie, for sure. And look, it's hard, right? We're all living in these, you know, very challenging, compressed situations right now. We're all at home and we all have a certain level of tolerance, right? Yes, a beautiful practice to do just before bed, absolutely. So we exchange energy all the time. So before a call, for sure. So especially if I teach a lot of sales people, and I work with a lot of millennials actually, and they end up in these really high stress environment where they're making sales calls all the time. Now, if you phone someone and the other person on the other end of the phone is in a place of really heightened stress, and you come in and you meet them at the same level, that conversation is never going to go well because we're energetic beings, right? We are exchanging energy all the time. So by you taking that pause and deep breath and resetting, you can start to bring them to your level rather than you meeting them in that heightened place of stress. And it takes practice. It takes practice. Anyone else get any other examples?
Can I go?
Yeah.
So I don't know about anyone else, but my partner's like an adult kid and he wants attention and he'll always time it really badly. Like just before we went live, he came in and told me something. And I was like, I told you I've got an event at 10 o'clock. Why are you doing this? Or he just has really bad timing, which isn't his fault. But I think I do need to take a mindful moment before I answer. And because I'm South African, I'm very vocal on my face. Like I can't hide my facial expression. If I'm annoyed, you will know.
Yeah.
So maybe that will help with me not doing a mean expression.
And it's also something you can teach your partner, right? So it's like before your partner comes into the room or asks you a question, get them to take a mindful moment, take them to take a deep breath and go, do I really need to ask this? You know, is this something that I actually really need to do? So, you know, just making it really simple. It's like one deep breath. Now that you know how to do this, and you know, I invite you to, if you run meetings with people, you know, start to bring them into the conversation. So what I get when I'm teaching this with my clients is, you know, they rotate it around the team. So you start each meeting with a deep breath, because what you're doing is you're resetting everyone, and everyone's going to show up and be much more present, and the, you know, things are just going to flow a lot more easily. So we don't have, so you've shared your mindful moments in the chat. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. We're not going to cover balanced breathing today, but it's something I will be covering in the masterclass, which is happening later this month, which we will cover off at the end. But I wanted, which will cover off things like heart rate variability. I would love to take a quick poll to see how you're feeling, but we're going to do that in 1 second. I want to teach you one more quick breath before I do that. So we're not going to launch the poll right now. But what I want to teach you is a really great breath for anxiety. And it's super fast. It's not in the slides because I always add stuff how I see fit. So it's called, it's really simple. It's really great for if you get a lot of negative thoughts, negative chatter in your head, or you're just like overwhelmed by a particular situation. And it's called 4462. So we're going to count. So our brains are really smart, but they can't count and freak out at the same time. So you inhale for the count of 4. You hold your breath for the count of 4. We will exhale for the count of 6. And by exhaling longer than we inhale, you're turbo boosting your parasympathetic nervous system. So that calming, soothing part of your nervous system. And then we're going to hold the breath for 2. We're just going to do 4 rounds of this before we close out. So I'll just count you through it. So find a comfortable seat, shoulders back and down, invite you to close your eyes and just gently tuck your chin. Notice if you're shining through your neck. And let's exhale all of our breath out together. So exhaling it all out. And breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding, 2. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding, 2. Breathing in. Holding. Breathing out. And hold. Last round. Breathing in. And hold. Breathing out. And hold. And just keep your eyes closed and take a moment to notice how you feel. Allowing the corners of your mouth to turn up into a smile. And when you're ready, gently opening your eyes. So we're just going to take a quick poll because I would love to know how you're feeling. And 4462 is really great if you, need to go into a meeting that you're anxious about, and also great for like public speaking. And no one knows you're doing it, which is great. And it's also great when you feel uncertain, right? Because there's a term, VUCA, it's a military term, volatile, uncertain times. And we're living through those at the moment. So it's okay to feel uncertain. All feelings are relevant. It's something that I'm going to cover off in the masterclass as well. So relaxed, focused, calm. I'm glad to see no one's feeling stressed or anxious. That would be really bad. Thank you, everyone. So that's the end of our session. What you've learned is, to recap, so you've learned breath awareness. You've learned how to connect into your own body and breath to see how you're feeling at any moment in time. You now understand how different emotional states impact your breath, which ultimately impact how you respond or react to different situations. You've learned a little bit of the physiology, also just understanding a little bit of what happens in your brain and how powerful your breath is to hit that reset button. And we've learned how to take the full expression of our breath. You've learned how to breathe in a balanced way, either using a breath of 4 or 5. And you've learned a mindful moment. So I think we covered off quite a lot. So thank you so much for staying with me to the end. I'm hugely grateful hugely, hugely grateful. If you want to know more, reach out to me. Just email me, Sonja@themorehuman.co. Connect with me on LinkedIn, where I put a lot of stuff, and would love for you to sign up to my newsletter. So once or twice a month, I just run, as part of the More Human Collective, free drop-in sessions. Just come and breathe with me, just so that you can keep your practice up. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'm here to answer.
Thank you so much. So we've got a couple of minutes. So if anyone's got any real quick questions, if you want to verbally ask them, that's fine. Just virtually raise your hand and I can give you permission. Type them if you are a really quick typist. Just while we wait, I will, when I send the post-event email, I'll send through the links. But quickly, Sonja, do you want to talk about what you're covering in your wellbeing and resilience for 2021, prioritizing well-being?
Yes. So, so the masterclass is going to be, so it's 2 2-hour sessions, and we're going to, we will revisit breath work. You will learn different styles of breathing. We'll also talk about emotions. So we're going to cover emotional literacy. Most of us actually don't know how we feel at any given moment in time, and we certainly don't know how to bring emotions into the workplace or home life. So we're going to use, we're going to talk about emotions in the workplace. You're also going to learn things like the stories that you make up in your heads and how they actually impact on your health and well-being. Every week, during the sessions, you'll learn different breath practices. So we cover breath work, emotions, other resilience practices, like the stories you make up in your head. What else am I covering off? God, I've forgotten what's in my own masterclass. That's ridiculous. But
it's fine, we've got 1 minute, so I'll cut you short, and I will share the links with everyone, and you can read the amazing stuff that we're going to cover in these 2 masterclasses. I hope you are excited as I am. So yeah, I've just popped in the chat the survey link. If you can just click on this, fill in your thoughts, feedback, it just helps me shape the virtual event and hopefully face-to-face event offering. So yeah, I appreciate it's 11 o'clock. So just want to say thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm so pleased that you're walking away mostly calm and relaxed during these uncertain times. Sonja, did you just want to say a final farewell?
Thank you, everyone. I'm just hugely grateful that you came to the class. I would love for you to join me in the masterclass. It really is a deep dive into emotional well-being, as well as using the breath work to upregulate and downregulate what we do. But yeah, thanks for your attendance. Ping me with any questions. I love to engage with people and just, right? So I know that you're not alone in these times. We're all in this together. So, and you now have a little bit of an edge because you now know how to calm your nervous system down. And I would say if you don't sleep well, using that 4-4-5-5 breath in bed will send you off to the land of Nod very, very quickly.
Love that. Also,
thanks, Charlie. Thanks for all your comments as well. I really appreciate it.
That's fine. And just to let you know, the masterclass is going to be a Zoom meeting, so we'll be able to see and hear you. So it's a lot more interactive and we can be a lot more engaging. So FYI, hopefully we will see you there. So yeah, thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, weekend, and hopefully we will see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.